to buy something right away. Cindy starts by thanking Kay for a thoughtful baby gift she sent for Cindy's daughter, Eve. She mentions that they loved it and have already put it to use. Kay apologizes for the delay in sending it, explaining that she's been busy with work, particularly due to an overseas assignment. Cindy reassures her, saying she understands a delay, especially since Kay had been working in another country. Now that Kay is back, Cindy asks if she plans to stay long-term. Kay confirms that she's back permanently as her overseas assignment has concluded. Excited about Kay's return, Cindy suggests they spend more time together and even invites Kay to Eve's upcoming first birthday party. Kay seems unsure if Cindy genuinely wants her there, but Cindy reassures her that she's considered family, especially since neither of their families live nearby. The conversation shifts to Kay's demeanor. Cindy encourages her to drop the formal tone and think of her more like a sister, observing that Kay often sounds like she's in customer service mode. Kay admits that her work environment has influenced her communication style. Cindy then jokes about her own talkative nature and asks Kay if she's more of a listener. Kay confirms that she is, which Cindy takes as a compliment, happy to be the more talkative one in their friendship. Kay shares that she's always wanted to know Cindy better, mentioning she's only heard about her through her brother, Brandon, since they haven't spent much time together. Cindy appreciates this, encouraging Kay to think of her like a sister. They plan to meet up for a meal or some shopping. Kay, however, wonders if it might be difficult for Cindy to find time while Eve is so young, but Cindy assures her that Brandon often watches Eve on weekends. This surprises Kay, as her image of her brother doesn't align with him being involved in childcare. She hints at Brandon's past as a bit of a wild child, which Cindy finds intriguing, asking Kay to share stories about him when they meet later. Cindy follows up with Kay, wondering if she saw her recent message about a limited-time sale at her favorite cosmetic store. Kay, who hadn't checked her messages, apologizes. Cindy hints that she'd like Kay to buy something from the sale as a Christmas present, referencing a time she baked cookies for Kay and subtly suggesting she expects a gift in return. She lectures Kay about the importance of reciprocating gifts within families, and Kay agrees to buy something right away. Cindy then critiques Kay's people skills, saying they could use improvement, although she acknowledges Kay is hardworking. When Kay admits she has friends and feels content with her social circle, Cindy seems skeptical, implying Kay may have struggled with loneliness abroad. The conversation highlights the differences in their personalities, with Cindy being more outspoken and demanding while Kay remains polite and somewhat reserved, likely influenced by her professional environment. Kay had recently sent a baby gift to her sister-in-law, Cindy, for her daughter Eve. Cindy thanked Kay for the thoughtful gift and mentioned how much Eve enjoyed it. She then expressed that she understood why the gift arrived later, as Kay had been working overseas. Kay explained that her work had required her to be abroad, but she was now back for good as her overseas project had concluded. Cindy suggested that now that Kay was back, they should meet up more often. She even invited Kay to attend Eve's upcoming first birthday party, welcoming her to join their small family celebration since neither set of parents lived nearby. Kay, appreciating the invitation, promised to check her schedule and let Cindy know as soon as possible. Their conversation took a more personal turn, with Cindy encouraging Kay to be more at ease with her and not feel like a burden. Cindy jokingly pointed out that Kay often spoke in a customer service voice, to which Kay admitted she was so accustomed to it from work that it was hard to drop. Cindy reassured her, urging her to think of them as family. They both acknowledged that they hadn't had many opportunities to spend time together as they'd only met in person a handful of times. Cindy then expressed her excitement about getting to know Kay better, asking if she considered herself more of a talker or a listener. Kay replied that she was definitely more of a listener, appreciating Cindy's talkative nature. Cindy took it as a compliment and revealed that she had wanted to connect with Kay for a long time, partly because she was Kay's sister-in-law and partly because she had always wanted a sister. The conversation eventually touched on family dynamics when Cindy mentioned that Brandon, Kay's brother, often watched Eve on weekends. Kay expressed surprise as she hadn't expected Brandon to be so hands-on with childcare based on her past impressions of him as a bit of a wild child. Cindy teased that Kay would hear some interesting stories about Brandon when they went out, suggesting they'd have plenty to talk about. They agreed to finalize plans for their outing and also discuss details for Eve's birthday later. Cindy messaged Kay, pushing her to check out a sale at one of her favorite cosmetic stores. Cindy reminded Kay that she had given her homemade cookies and hinted that Kay should buy her something from the sale as a sort of repayment. Kay agreed to take a look, noting that she hadn't realized Cindy was expecting a gift in return. Cindy chided her, mentioning the importance of reciprocating in gift-giving and saying that Kay's social skills could use improvement. Although slightly hurt, Kay agreed to check out the items that Cindy wanted. Then Cindy revealed a significant request. Since Brandon would be away on a business trip for a month, she needed Kay to watch Eve for a few days, explaining that she had no one else to turn to. Kay hesitantly agreed, noting that she had no experience caring for children but was willing to help if it was over the weekend. The situation took a more urgent turn when Kay messaged Cindy about Eve developing a fever. Kay expressed concern and asked if she should take Eve to a doctor. Cindy dismissed her worries, saying that fevers were common for children and advising Kay to give Eve some fever medication and let her rest. When Kay pressed for more information, explaining that Eve looked uncomfortable, Cindy showed reluctance to leave her location and didn't commit to come to pick Eve up, instead telling Kay to check for medication in Eve's bag. Kay grew increasingly frustrated as Cindy avoided clear answers about when she would pick Eve up. Cindy suggested that Kay should skip work the next day if needed and take care of Eve longer, but Kay was not comfortable with that arrangement. When Kay inquired about Cindy's whereabouts, Cindy admitted that she had popped out to take a break, hinting that she found childcare overwhelming. Frustrated, Kay mentioned she might call Brandon to discuss the situation. Cindy objected, saying Brandon was busy with work, implying that he wouldn't want to be disturbed by the issue. Feeling cornered and unsupported, Kay was left frustrated, sensing that Cindy's request for help had now turned into an unreasonable burden. After Cindy's husband, Brandon, went on a month-long business trip, she asked her sister-in-law, Kay, to watch over her one-year-old daughter, Eve. Initially, Cindy had assured her that it would only be for a couple of days, and Kay, though hesitant due to her limited experience with children, decided to help. However, the situation quickly spiraled beyond what she'd signed up for. Shortly after Cindy dropped off Eve, the toddler developed a fever, and Kay became increasingly worried. She tried reaching out to Cindy, explaining the need to take Eve to the doctor, but Cindy brushed off Kay's concerns, instructing her simply to give Eve medication and let her rest. Kay's concerns deepened when she discovered Cindy was not even in town. She had left the city for a week-long getaway. Feeling overwhelmed, Kay contacted her brother, Brandon, to inform him about Cindy's absence and Eve's condition. In response, Brandon reached out to their mother, arranging for her to take over caring for Eve while Kay resumed her responsibilities. When Cindy finally called, Kay expressed her frustration over being left with a sick child for a full week when Cindy had only mentioned a weekend. Kay questioned Cindy's decision to go on a vacation without ensuring Eve was adequately cared for, pointing out that she could have arranged professional childcare or coordinated with her family instead of springing it on Kay without full disclosure. Cindy, becoming increasingly defensive, insisted she just needed a break to relax and didn't expect things to go this way. She pleaded with Kay not to involve Brandon, worried that if he knew about her actions, he would be furious. But Kay was resolute, explaining that Cindy had taken advantage of her willingness to help and it was too late to cover up what had happened. In a state of panic, Cindy continued reaching out to Brandon, only to be met with silence. Kay informed her that Brandon was likely preoccupied investigating where she had gone and what she had been doing during her week away. Overwhelmed by guilt and fear, Cindy admitted she hadn't anticipated the consequences and begged Kay to smooth things over with her brother, promising never to ask her for help again. Kay, however, firmly refused, saying that Cindy needed to face the consequences of her actions on her own. Later, Brandon uncovered the full extent of Cindy's activities. He learned that she had spent the week out of state at a luxury hotel, not alone but with a man from his own office. This revelation devastated Brandon, who felt betrayed not only by his wife's lack of responsibility toward Eve but by her infidelity as well. The situation resulted in Brandon filing for divorce. Cindy lost custody of Eve due to her negligent behavior, was ordered to pay child support, and had to leave Eve's upbringing to her ex-husband and his family. After these events, Brandon returned to apologize to Kay and their mother, feeling deeply remorseful for the trouble Cindy had caused. Kay and her mother reassured him that they were simply glad Eve was safe and that the situation was resolved. Looking ahead, they knew Brandon would eventually need to explain the situation to Eve when she grew older, but for now, they focused on ensuring that she had a stable and caring environment.